Okay, I'm back. I don't like them to get too long. So, okay, so that was Satisfaction. And again, I kind of was like, what? This is getting kind of like, what do you call it? Where are we going with this? So that was that. I could have probably finished that on the other one, but I wasn't sure what else I was going to say. Okay, and so the shows I did watch were Humans. I wanted to see that because if you read my blog, you know how much I love Merlin. I think I've written 2 posts about it already. But so Colin Morgan was in Humans, and he wasn't in it as near as much as he needed to be. He was in it more in the first season. It was just so funny watching him with more grown-up lines. What do you say? More grown-up character. And he's got this really heavy voice. So, yeah, maybe I was a little distracted during the show. I don't know. But the idea of Humans, if you haven't seen it, is the AI is becoming conscious. Not all of them, apparently. Just some who are exposed to a certain code. And Colin Morgan, spoiler if you haven't seen Humans, I just gotta say, he is the son of the person who created the code. So when he was younger, he died in an accident. Colin, or Leo in the show, he died in an accident, but his dad was able to bring him back with some AI parts, basically. And so it must not have been a lot of parts, because he obviously was able to grow up from a kid to an older adult, in his 20s or early 30s. And so he feels like, because he's basically raised by these AI robots, and they're like his family. And so there was like 5 of them. There was like him and another lady who was like his caretaker, and then some others that were around that were kind of like, he feels like they were his siblings. And then there was another one who ended up being someone who had replaced his mother. She shows up later. And then so they kind of work around this idea that society isn't ready. And then some of the AI started getting a little violent, which, it's like these people, these beings, not beings, these robots who are taking care of things in society, some of them, I would say some of them become violent, but it's really only the ones who are becoming aware, who are becoming violent. Does that tell you anything, right? And I'm just going to comment here on AI. This is a big deal. It's a really, 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 can I say really big deal, because the artificial intelligence is being created by humans. And we need to keep this in mind. When things go wrong, is it the AI or is it the human input? That is very important, people. Come on. It's like whoever created us, whether it was an Anunnaki or someone may believe it was a god, or just the Anunnaki who thinks they're God, or what, that's a whole different topic, okay? But the creator is kind of still responsible for what the creation does. Not to say that there isn't self-responsibility. If you're a conscious being, so if this AI becomes conscious, he has to be taught to be a certain way. And that's actually something that the robots remember. They actually remember that. Someone has to teach them. I'm not sure which one of them said it, but one of them has said it at some point during the show, that if we're going to be conscious, we have to be taught to be human. We can't just be conscious and suddenly we know everything about society and how to act and how not to hurt people. I mean, okay, you can be taught not to hurt someone, but then you have to have the line between being hurt by someone hurting you or being hurt by someone or hurting someone who is helping you, right? So that's kind of some things they bring up. One of the girls, again, spoiler, one of the girls has been in a situation where she's been abused. This is a robot. But at some point she says enough and she kills this person. And of course, because the person is dead, there's no way for anyone else to know why she did it. But they do have cameras because she's like a, how do you say, prostitute? It's not really, she's like a prostitute, you know, in those little rooms where they go to do stuff. Yeah, I don't know what that's called. So there's probably cameras and they actually see what happens to her. But I don't think it's brought forward when she actually comes forward and says, hey, well, if I'm human, treat me like a human. Give me a trial. Don't just put me down like a dog in the street. I want a trial. And so they have to prove that she's human to stand trial. But then she thinks it's rigged and she freaks out. She's like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to get a good trial. So she disappears. See, that's really very human, right? Anyway, so it's a very interesting show. I'm not going to go over every detail. I think it's worth watching, at least the first season. The second season is good. Again, they start going in different directions and they start kind of focusing on various things. It's funny. I just watched it. I can't really tell you a lot just because there's a lot going on. There is one AI robot who is violent. It seems like she's violent from the moment she becomes conscious. You know, we would call her psychotic, or what do you call psycho? She became conscious as a psychotic person. You know, but she actually was in a situation where she was constantly abused in other ways than we don't even know. She says they used to take him down to the basement and beat him and all these different things at this job because they weren't conscious, right? Crazy, just crazy, you know? And so she comes out with this personality that she's going to get back at everyone, even people who are trying to help, because she doesn't trust humans. That happens every day, right? But the warning against the AI in real use, in IRL, in our real lives, is that too much is not going to be a good thing. But we still have to remember that no matter what happens with them, it's put in there by us. All right, I'm going to stop there. Thanks.